Hello, I'm Abbe Bond. I'm a physiotherapist and Pilates instructor here at Chipping Norton Physio. This is a Matwork class. It's really an intermediate level class. It's aimed at the classes that I already run at Chipping Norton Physio. If you haven't been to one of those classes, then this is perfectly suitable for beginners as well, as long as you avoid the double tabletop position. So I will point that out whenever that comes along and give you a safer option. We're going to start with some exercises in side lying. So I'm going to get you all to lie on your side with a little headrest. We're going to get into what we call the crook lying position for clowns level 2. So I'd like you to have your feet up in the air, level with your bottom and your shoulders as you look down. You're going to have your hips stacked on top of each other. So if you drew a line through your top hip, it would pop out through your bottom one. You're going to make sure your pelvis is in neutral. So I want you to think about pushing away that top line, pushing away the top hip, which will open up a little bit of a space, or at least less pressure between your waist and the floor, and you're going to try and preserve that space. We're going to get those core muscles working here. So I want you to lift your pelvic floor and pull in your lower abdominals to keep everything solid through the centre. Put your hand wherever you want it. We're going to keep those core muscles working while we lift the top knee, and then we control it back down again. So everything else in the body is nice and still, but we're lifting the knee and then controlling it down. So we're opening as widely as we're able to with that top knee without rocking the top hip backwards. So your feet stay nice and still, your pelvis stays in neutral, you're relaxed through the upper half. We're going to aim to keep those core muscles working through the entire set. So we're not letting it go in between each one if we can help it. Keeping a bit of tension through the top leg. We're going to do one more. And then we're going to bring the feet back to the floor. We're going to do clowns level 3 now. So level 3, you start with the lower leg nice and straight, slightly angled forward. We're going to hook the top foot behind the bottom knee and the top knee in front of us onto the floor. Now your top hip might drop forward very slightly, but we're going to try and pull it back so it's stacked. We're going to push away that top hip as we did before, and then again engage those core muscles if they're gone. And with that engagement, we're going to lift the top knee and inhale to control it back to the floor. And again, keeping the rest of the body nice and still while we just move this leg. Only opening again as widely as we can control the pelvic position. So keeping the hips stacked, not rolling backwards. So nice smooth movement if you can. We don't want to rest that knee on the floor. Just very lightly taps down and then lift it back up again. So you're always keeping a little bit of tension through the leg and always keeping those core muscles working. I'm going to do one more. And then you can relax that knee and bring the top foot forward. And relax the whole of that top leg now. We're going to work the bottom leg. So I want you to bring that leg back in line with the rest of the body. So you've got pretty much a straight line now between your bottom hand and your bottom foot. Before we do any movement, we're going to rotate the lower leg inwards. So your big toe is reaching up towards the ceiling. Your kneecap is pointing forwards. We're going to engage those core muscles again, and we're going to lift that leg as high as you can with a pointed toe. We're going to glide it forward. We're going to flex the ankle, and then we're going to pull it back. So it's point and forwards, flex and back. So we're keeping the knee straight all the time. We're keeping those core muscles working, squeezing the bottom cheek on the way back. We really want to be overtaking that bottom foot as you glide the leg forward if we can help it, if we can. Okay, let's aim for 2 more. Last one. Good, and then we're going to rest that leg back down again. Good, okay, so we're going to line crook lying now. So we've got about 90 degrees behind the knees. We're going to bring both arms in front of us. So palms together. Now the knees and the lower half is nice and relaxed, but we're going to keep them on the floor. They're your anchor point. We're going to engage those core muscles before we do anything else. Then we're going to take a breath in and exhale to bring that top arm up and over, eyes following as it goes, and then inhale to come back. And again, we're exhaling, opening the chest to the ceiling, dropping the arm as far as we can comfortably, don't push into any pain, and then inhale back. Last one like this, making sure those knees stay on the floor so that we're not rolling the whole body. And then we're going to turn it into a circle. So now we're going to lift up and over, drop back, and sweep down past our knees. And we're going to do that twice more. So core muscles are still working, making that circle as widely as we can comfortably. Make sure we don't push into any pain. Okay, now we're going to change direction on the circle. So now we're going to sweep down past our knees first, drop back, lift up and over, really lifting the rib cage as we go. So we're making that circle as wide as we can. So we're mobilising the thoracic spine, the shoulder and the rib cage. We'll do one more. Good. Okay. And then we're going to roll onto our backs and find ourselves in a nice rest position. Now you might want a smaller headrest now, it's up to you. So we're going to find our rest position. So we want our feet and our knees about hip width distance apart. We want our pelvis in neutral, pelvic neutral. So I want you to rock it backwards and forwards, and then we're going to come to settle somewhere in the middle where you've got a nice level triangle across the bony points across the front of your pelvis. That will leave you with a small gap behind your back, but it's not huge. It's not going to get the whole hand under there, just enough for a couple of fingers perhaps. And we're going to make sure that those shoulders are resting down and back. So your shoulder blades are fully in contact with the floor. Your chest is nice and relaxed. Your head's feeling like it's being slightly tugged away in that direction, so you're lengthening down the back of your neck. Make sure you're tucking your chin a little bit so it's not jutting forward. And then we're going to engage those core muscles. So without any extra movement there, we're going to lift the pelvic floor and pull down on those lower abdominals about 30%. So there's no tilting of the pelvis at this point. And I want you to think about keeping hold of that core contraction while we take some nice deep breaths. So you're going to take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And you're going to keep going in your own time, concentrating on keeping hold of that core contraction all the way through the breath cycle. I also want you to make sure you're not rising and falling dramatically in the upper chest. You're trying to take those breaths deep into the base of your lungs. You're even trying to expand your lower rib cage out to the side while you do that, but keeping the upper chest nice and relaxed. Okay. All right, now we're going to do the abdo prep. So I want you to all put your hands behind your head. You're going to bring your elbows slightly forward so that you can see them in your peripheral vision. Now keeping the lower half nice and still and keeping your pelvic floor and your lower abdominal still working, we're going to take a breath in and exhale to bring your shoulders away from the floor, looking between your knees, and then control yourself back down again. So we're going to do this a few times. Exhaling forwards and inhaling back. So it doesn't have to be a big movement. We're really gliding the rib cage down towards our hips as we come forward. You're not putting a big tug on the back of your head. Your hands are just there for light support, and that's all. I want you to make sure your pelvis stays nice and level. You're not allowing it to tip towards you as you come forward. You're not squashing your back onto the floor. Now, if you want to do this in a more challenging way, you can do this in double tabletop, but this is not for beginners. If you've done double tabletop before, you bring one leg up into tabletop, you anchor your rib cage down a little bit more solidly, and activating these upper tummy muscles before you bring in the second leg, so that you can stay nice and flush across the abdomen. Then you're going to leave the legs in that position while you do that abdo prep as we did before. So the lower half stays nice and still, hopefully. Exhaling forward and inhaling back. Keep a bit of a gap between your chin and your chest. We're going to do two more. If you need to bring your feet down at any point because you're starting to tire or your tummy muscles start to pop forward, then you can bring the legs down. Now we're going to bring the arms down, legs down one at a time, and then when they're both on the floor you can relax those core muscles. Okay, so we're going to do some oblique preparation now. So it's getting the oblique muscles across the abdomen working. So we have to do it very slightly differently. Now you can either do it with your feet on the floor or in double tabletop, not in between. So if you're a beginner, feet on the floor. If you're not, you can bring your leg into double tabletop. So anchoring down, bringing the second leg up. We're going to pop the hands back behind the head, and this time, instead of coming right down the middle, we come across the body. We're going to hold it as we stretch away one arm. We're going to bring the hand back behind the head, and then control it back down again, and the other way. Across the body, stretch out an arm to hold it, hand back behind, and down. So it's very similar. We're going to do that a few times. So we're keeping the lower half as still as you can, keeping that double tabletop position. Making sure you're coming across the body rather than forward. So both shoulders come away from the floor, but one comes a little bit further. Last one. Okay, arms back down and then legs down, one at a time. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do hip twist level 2 now. So we're going to bring our feet together, we're going to bring our knees together, we're going to bring our arms out to the side a little wider, and we find a neutral position for the pelvis again. So it's halfway between that pelvic tilt. Nice level triangle across the front here. We're going to engage those core muscles, and we're going to exhale to take both knees one way. As your head goes the opposite way, we're going to push into that stretch without letting the shoulder lift, and we're going to inhale back again. And then we go the other way. We're exhaling out, push into the stretch, and inhale back. So there's a few little watch points while you do this. You're going to make sure that your feet are completely locked together. So one foot rides up over the top of the other one as you roll over. You're going to make sure your shoulders never leave the floor. So if they start to lift, you know you've gone too far. We've always got those core muscles working. But additionally, on the way back, once you've taken your knees as far as they'll go, you can pull in all your upper abdominals to help you anchor back to the centre. So you're leading with your knees on the way out, but you're leading with your rib cage on the way back, corkscrewing back from top to bottom. Let's do that a few more times. Now, if you're a beginner, I want you to stay at this level. If you've done this before and you know you can control double tabletop, you can also do this exercise in double tabletop. You have to bring your arms back in first. One leg at a time into double tabletop. Remember, we're anchoring down the rib cage to keep nice and flush. You're going to press your knees and your ankles together, arms out to the side again, and then the same action. Exhaling out and inhale back in again. Now, if that's just slightly too difficult for you, you can do this with your knees slightly forward towards you to make it a little bit easier if you want to. If you want it more challenging, and double tabletop's already a challenge, you can straighten your legs out to 45 degrees. So everything's a little bit heavier to those muscles at the centre, makes it more challenging. So you choose your position to make sure that it is nice and supported. I'm going to bring the legs back down again. A little rest. Okay, so we're going to do some shoulder bridges now. So bring your arms back in by your sides. Feet about hip width, knees hip width again, pelvis in neutral. Relax the shoulders, arms down by your sides. So we're going to engage those core muscles. You're going to take a breath in and exhale to tuck the tailbone underneath and peel away from the floor, pushing up into that shoulder bridge so you're in a nice straight line between shoulders and knees. Take a breath in at the top and then exhale to peel back down again. Keeping hold of those core muscles, rolling through the spine and back into neutral. Let's do that a couple of times. So tucking underneath, squeezing your bottom cheeks, pushing down through your heels, thrusting forward, take a breath in at the top, and then exhale. Sinking the breastbone down to lead the way so that you really roll from top to bottom and back into neutral. We'll do one more. Okay, so now we're going to do shoulder bridge level 2. For those that want to go up a level, you can just carry on at level 1. So with shoulder bridge level 2, we tuck underneath, we come up as we did before. Once we get to the top, we take a breath in, and then we exhale to straighten out one leg to 45 degrees, and inhale to bring it back in again, and we change. Exhale out, and inhale back in. So it's slow, it's with a breath cycle. We're keeping the pelvis nice and level. You want to really squeeze the bottom cheek on the supporting leg to make sure that you don't dip down on the other side. We'll do one more each side. Last one. And then we're going to peel back down again. So we exhale to peel back down, rolling through the spine and back into neutral. Okay. So we're going to do some exercises lying on our front now. We're going to do the breaststroke. So we're going to go through the different levels of breaststroke preps first. So I want you to roll over. You're probably going to need a larger headrest or a rolled up towel now, so that you've got a little bit of space for your nose. Okay, I'm just going to demonstrate the first one. So we're going to pop our palms up to the ceiling. We're going to get our feet about hip width distance apart, and we've got a neutral position for our pelvis. So we want to, again, halfway through the pelvic tilt, we're going to have your tummy button drawn away from the floor just a fraction. I want you to engage your core muscles there. You relax your shoulders forward completely, take a breath in, And then exhale to lift your shoulder blades down and back, reaching your fingertips away. Breath in at the top, and then exhale to relax forward. And again, exhale to come down and back, reach away, take a breath in at the top, and exhale back down again. Breath in and exhale. So it's all about the shoulder blade movement. We're getting that nice glide and down and back of the shoulder blades. We'll do one more like that, and then you can add in level 2 if you want to. So level 2 is exactly the same, but we add in a lift of the breastbone at the same time. We're keeping a nice length down the back of the neck. We're not looking up, we're still looking down at the floor, keeping that length down the neck and the back. Keeping the tummy button away from the floor if you can. Now if you want to go even further, you can go up into the full breaststroke. So it's exactly the same, level 2, but you have to hold it as you do the sweeping movement of a breaststroke in the water. And then you control it back down again. So we'll just do 2 more if you can. So you're coming up, you're holding that position, you're reaching in front, sweeping around with the arms, drawing down and back the shoulder blades, and then controlling back. 1 more. Lovely. Okay, now we're going to come back up. We're going to sit back on our heels and give ourselves a bit of a stretch to the back. So I want you to sit back on your heels, reach forward, sink nice and low into that shell stretch. And now we're going to walk our hands around in one direction. So we get a nice side stretch, we're going to sink nice and low again. And then we'll walk round the other way to get the same stretch the other side. Sink low to the floor. And come back to the centre. Walk your hands back up. And we're going to change ends of the mat. So we can do the sideline bits and pieces the other side. So you're going to leave both headrests again. Or either headrest, whichever's more comfortable. And we're going to do clowns level 2 again. So we want that crook lying position, but with feet up in the air. We're pushing away that top line to open up the space at your waist. We're going to engage the core muscles there. Take a breath in and then exhale to lift and inhale back down. And again, exhale, inhale back down. So everything's nice and still, keeping the shoulder nice and relaxed as well. Keeping tension through the leg the whole way through. So we're not letting go of that tension. We're not letting go of the core muscles. All right, 1 more. Lovely. Okay, feet back to the floor. So clowns level 3, like we did on the other side. Straighten out that lower leg. Hook the top foot behind the bottom knee. Top knee goes back onto the floor. Okay, so make sure you have completely slumped forward. You're pulling that top hip down towards your feet. You're making it stacked on top of the other one. You're going to get those core muscles working again. Take a breath in and then exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Now, your foot should be connected to the back of your calf, not on the floor, your top foot. So it's pivoting behind your knee. As you lift, make sure you're not leaning backwards. Might be a bit sluggery like me. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Good, okay. So relax the knee now. Bring the top foot up and over like we did before. We're going to bring the lower leg back in line with the rest of the body. Remember, we're pushing away that top line now. We're going to rotate that lower leg inwards, so your kneecaps pointing forwards, big toes reaching up to the ceiling. Engage the core again. We're going to lift that leg so it's nice and high. Glide it as far forward as you can. Flex the ankle and pull it back. So point and forwards, flex and back. So we're staying nice and high, we're going as far forwards as you can. We flex the ankle, we squeeze the bottom sheet to come back as far as you can without bending the knee. So the knee is always locked. Keep those core muscles working, relax the upper half. We'll do one more. And we're going to lower it back down again. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to do arm openings on this side now. So back into crook lying. We're going to have both arms in front of us. We engage those core muscles, take a breath in and exhale to bring the top arm up and over, eyes following that leading hand, and then inhale to bring it back. And again, exhale, opening the chest to the ceiling, and inhale back. Okay, so we're going to turn it into a circle now. So check those core muscles, lift up and over, reaching as widely as you can comfortably, and sweeping down past the knees. Now please don't push into any pain with any of this. Everybody's range is slightly different. Last one, mobilising the rib cage as you reach up and over, and we're going to change direction. So now we sweep down past the knees, drop back, lift up and over. Last one. Lovely. Okay, we're going to do a couple of stretches which might be familiar. So we're going to lie on our backs. Good, okay, I'm going to get you to put your right ankle onto your left knee and bring your left knee towards you. So this is a nice glutes and piriformis stretch. If you want more of a stretch, you can push that knee out to the side a bit. You don't need to. You're just coming into a comfortable stretch, and we're going to hold it there. Okay, and then we're going to pop that left foot to the floor, close the gap between your knees, drop both knees over to the right hand side as you look to your left. And you should feel a bit of a stretch somewhere around that left shoulder, that left hip, sorry. Okay, then come back to the centre and we'll go the other way. So uncross the legs. Left ankle onto right knee towards you. So we're always just getting to a decent stretch, not pushing into any pain, and just hold it at that point. Okay, then you can put your right foot to the floor. Close the gap between your knees again, both knees over to the left as you look to your right this time. So we're just keeping that opposite shoulder down while we get the nice stretch through the hip. You're essentially using one knee to push the other one down to the floor with just a little bit of overpressure. Okay, back to the centre, uncross your legs and bring both knees to your chest. Just do some nice little circles with your knees now. So it loosens out your lower back and your hips. And then you can go into a nice lumbar stretch by bringing your knees towards your chest nice and deeply, or you can go up into the happy baby stretch if you prefer. So it's a yoga position. You've got your hands on your feet, but pulling your knees down towards your armpits. You're trying to get your shoulder blades properly in contact with the floor as well as your low back, if you're able to. You want your knees and your feet nice and wide. Now you can hold on to your trousers instead if you can't reach your feet. Then we're going to bring feet together, heels towards your bottom. We can get that frog stretch, aren't you? Push your knees out to the side so we get a stretch on the inner thigh. You can do this with your feet on the floor if you prefer. I think you get a better stretch like that as well. So you're pushing your knees out. Make sure you don't arch away from the floor, so you might have to tuck your tailbone underneath a little bit just to keep everything flush across the front. Relax your shoulders. Okay, and then we're all going to bring feet to the floor and knees together. I want you to do a few little pelvic tilts or pelvic rolls just to loosen out your pelvis and your lower back before we get upright. Okay. Alright, so we're going to roll onto our side and push up. And that's the end of this mat work class. So thank you for watching.